This is a proof of life video, really.
I'm alive.
So
I'm alive and well. Maybe
we should
Get that clip up
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
You are now tuned into the cut.
Cutting and scratching.
Cut.
My cut is correct.
Each cut is totally arranged.
While chillin' the cut.
Yo. Welcome back to The Cut for this week. It's your man, Uncle Catfish, DJ IV.
Yes, sir.
Just flew back in. His wings are tired.
I'm not the only one.
All the way. A lot of people fly out of here to go to the warmth in the winter. Some people leave the winter for the warmth. We got Kayo in the building.
What's good? I just flew in myself and boy, my wings tired.
Kayo.
My G.
That infectious laugh, man. It's right away.
Oh, thanks.
When I think about you, I think about that laugh, actually.
For real?
Yeah.
Pause.
I haven't had a...
But thank you.
Oh, we're going to pause again right off the top?
Pause.
All right. Well, if that's... I gotta
It's
write
hip hop, bro. It's hip hop.
You talking about other men like that?
Pause. Once it gets started, pause. It doesn't stop. Pause. No, it's true, though. You have a big, boisterous personality. I think it's part of why you're good at creating visuals and for your music. I think you come through the screen.
Thank you very much. That's ironic, but dope. It's ironic.
Why is that
because
ironic to you?
I feel like I'm a pretty, timid guy in real life.
Do you think you're a good actor?
Yeah. I mean, I know how to turn it on when the cameras
I think
get
you
on,
do.
But I don't know.
Let's jump into a section I like to call First Cuts. When's the first moment you were in Canada?
2009, August 2009. Funny enough, I just passed, and I didn't realize that it was so close this whole time. What's it called? Something in close to where we live.
Waverly?
Not Waverly, in shit, I wish I remembered the name of the spot. But anyway, it's the spot that I came to. It was like this inn that I stayed at a couple days before I moved into the university with my mom, and my mom's friend and her daughter came up at the same time. What's it?
On Agricola? Like that inn?
It might be on Agricola.
Citadel Inn?
Nah, not Comfort Inn. Not Comfort.
Shout out to all these places.
But anyway, it's one of them places, right? And I just passed it for the first time in like the 12 years that I've been living here. It's crazy. But yeah, first time I came was 2009 with my parents. It was 14 degrees. I had on a brown Ed Hardy hoodie. I thought I was the shit. And I was cold.
Freezing.
For people that don't know and that are hearing this and they're like, man, I wish spring would finally get here.
What is spring?
Exactly. What brought you here, of all places?
So, I wanted to go to Orlando. I had applied to go to, sorry. I wanted to go to Full Sail University.
You need to get a refund from that ticket agent because they fucked up.
Where am I? Yeah. But not, I applied to go to Full Sail University. I wanted to do music business. I had done everything. I had gotten a place to stay, all that shit. But in St. Lucia, I had to get a student loan, and the banks, the government rather, has this priority list. So you can't get a loan for a course that isn't on the priority list, and of course music business wasn't on that list. So the only other school that I had applied for was St. Mary's University, and the reason that I had applied for St. Mary's University is because Professor Harvey Miller is a St. Lucian who is a professor at the school. Nice. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to send him down every year with a recruitment team, and they used to have these things. I mean, I went to it. I not signed up, but I filled out the application. I got accepted. I had deferred that application because I got accepted for December. I deferred that because I was still trying to go to Full Sail. And when that fell through last minute, I was like, man, I just got to get out of here. So I just came here. And the rest is, as they say, history.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where would you be if you ended up on Orlando?
I think about that sometimes. But people, the path that is meant for you is the path that you ultimately end up on, and is after the fact. I think that's 2020.
I think also one of the reasons I wanted to bring that up is when we sit here in Halifax and we radiate out from here. a sense of what this place is. And a big part of what this place is the fact that we have a lot of imports come here for reasons that we don't necessarily know. But look at what our scene gains from
Straight
that.
up. Like,
and
I
we've
was
had some
one of-
guests in here recently who've talked
Yeah.
about that 4-year cycle of people and catching on to waves at the university, catching on
true.
because there's such a huge population. It
It's
brings
true.
artists.
Yeah.
They pollinate and cross pollinate.
And different communities.
But
Like, I was one of
it's a
20
factor
St.
of
Lucians that
Halifax.
came up. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I
You
love
don't
it
get
there,
that
though.
at the University of Brandon. Shout out. You don't get that at Manitoba at University of Brandon.
Or you take
Unless
it
you
for
just hang with the
granted
basketball
at like a Ryerson or something
Right,
in
right,
Toronto
right.
where it's the norm anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I think the East Coast, like there's just an energy up, like culturally, the people, everything. There's something that's very welcoming and nurturing here, and that is what I think really helps the talent to really grow and flourish the way that
The
it is.
recruitment amongst the universities is a big thing here
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like they're always like, I remember when I was working at Mary Jane's, and there was always like tons of Bermudians, and we were like, man, like how is there so many of you here? And
Yeah, man.
they broke it down. They were like, you know, we all go to Compu College. They
Yeah.
all come down and say, look, we'll pay your whole
Community
tuition.
College. What was the name of that club that's upstairs? That was upstairs. Pizza
Pogue
Corner?
for the. Oh no,
Not
no,
Pogue for
um,
the. I remember Pogue. They
Stage
had
9,
awesome
Coconut
wings.
Grove.
Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove.
Yo, when I was there, when I was in school there, the Bahamians
Runtings.
and the Bermudans. I don't know what it is with Bahamians and Bermudans, but they always had like some sort of beef, right?
yeah.
I remember a few parties going off.
It's like New Zealand and Australia.
There was this one night I was supposed to go to this party and I didn't go. I stayed home with my girl at the time, who was in fact Bermudian. And then there was this big ass fight. They break the TVs and all that shit, and that was the last. That was the last shit
I
at
heard there
Coconut
was
Grove.
tables and
Barbados
chairs
is
flying
the
everywhere.
Trident flag, right?
Yes,
Blue and
yeah.
gold
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
Trident.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
dope flag though.
Yeah, shout out Leaf Hills one time.
But yeah,
I was
the,
just
the,
in
shout out Leaf
the
Newfoundland with-
recruitment thing is
Yeah?
huge.
I was just in Newfoundland with a bunch of. I was there for the Club One New Release thing, as you
Okay.
just said, Barbados.
yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
shout out Leaf Hills and the whole Barbados crew that was out there too.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Well, with Kayo, I feel like there's a lot, and we could go into a lot of those places, but I don't want to miss out on like the moment right now.
Okay.
And I want to talk about something that's just coming out.
Okay,
That
absolutely.
EP itself is not all the way out yet, is it?
Nah, it's not. It's coming out next week.
That's right.
It's coming out next
What's
week.
out
April
so
13th.
far?
Just the single.
It's
So,
So
cold.
Cold,
We just
yeah.
put out the video
So cold.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Sweet video.
Thank you. We shot that video last year,
Sweet video.
and that's my ex-girlfriend actually in the video.
Who?
Drama.
In fact, well, that the whole EP, the whole project
Yeah.
is full of drama and full of contradictions.
A
and
lot of
full
contradictions. Yeah, man.
Two
Yeah.
people, like almost like 2 or 3 different places. Three different places of your mind state that I
Three.
got out of that when I
Yeah,
listened to that.
I think so. And really, like, I mean, creatively, there were 3 places.
Really?
Sonically, I tried to take people on this journey through
So-
these 3 different soundscapes.
How do you then, when you look at that, because my question to you was, you already answered the first one, was it a deliberate process to keep those 3 sort of diverse things happening and put them all under one umbrella as the EP? Or was it that there was writing going on and this is just what happened over a period?
This is what just happened over a period.
Right.
Like, even the EP itself has developed in ways that I didn't really imagine just because we kept pushing it back. Like in January when I wanted to put it out,
Right.
it was just 7 tracks. The last song was the first song. It was all over the place. And then I went to Trinidad. I went to St. Lucia in February. It was still the same way it was. But before I went to St. Lucia, I had recorded one song with Yogi,
Shout out Yogi.
like just hours before the flight. And we all loved the song, and that song made the album.
What
as
one's
well.
that one?
Reckless. Reckless was the last one.
Well,
that we did. So I say all this to say that
I wanna
like,
go through a bunch
it
of
really I didn't know I was gonna make an EP called Winter in St. Lucia. I came out for this trip. I got hyper focused. I zoned in. I was in the studio in Toronto nonstop. I came here. I was in the studio here nonstop. We had the whole solstice thing going on, and all of these things were just percolating. And I was doing all of these different things except putting out music. But I was, just gathering all the content. And then I knew that I wanted to put something out come beginning of this year. I really wanted to approach it as if like fuck it, I'm a new artist. Like, as far as a lot of these kids are concerned anyway, this is the very first time that they're gonna hear Kayo. So with that in mind, I could not worry about what people are gonna think about, like, whoa, this is what he sounds like now, what about back then? Like, fuck all that shit. You know what I mean? It's just what felt right to me at the time. So all this kind of just came together very organically. Even the story that ended up being told, like after the St. Lucia trip, came back here for like 2 days for the Passport Summit conference that Music Nova Scotia had. And then I went to Trinidad for the Club One New Release thing. So it was myself and like 50 other artists in a hotel in the hills of Trinidad, just vibing, just us there. And I played the album for a couple of people there, like just a couple of musicians that I had been working with. And one guy just suggested like, man, what if you just like flip it? Just flip it completely. And I did. I tried it.
Track order?
Track order, right? And that time, yeah, I just flipped it completely. I remember I played it for him like the last night. Then the little couple hour layover that we had, went in Logic. I kind of just flip it just to see how it would sound at one thing. I listened to it on the flight. I liked it, sent it to Yogi, sent it to Melissa, sent it to like a few people that, you know, I wanted their opinion. I got Yogi, I got Snoop, I got a bunch of my friends to like do their own version of a track list as well so that I would compare it. But I knew that I really wanted it to, one, tell a story sonically, not necessarily literally, we'll get into that too, but I wanted it to tell a story sonically, and I wanted it to be dynamic enough that I could perform it front to back the way it plays as an album. I wanted to create that visual live aspect of the EP the same way that we did the EP itself.
That's dope. That's dope.
I've always wanted to do that shit too.
Well,
It's taken a minute to like, you know, figure it all
there's
out.
a
Even
lot.
the artwork, even like the entire rollout. Like I'm a very fucking impatient person when it comes to the music, but I'm glad that everything is kind of, you know, working out the way that it's working out.
There's some gems in there, man, that you just said to me. Like, especially, like, for one, embracing patience, which I think also around here we might refer to that as, like, no half step. Do it right. But also the idea of treating yourself like a new artist. I like that idea a lot, and I think that's really important. I think, you know, when you're looking backwards and driving forwards, like, that's not an easy thing. It's just distracting.
Because a lot of the time,
And I like the idea of hitting the smash, too. Like, the idea that, like, you want to make that impact again. Like, I'm back. Or for people that never met me, I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You are a new artist, hopefully, every time, because you should be growing that
Should be
audience.
growing,
So it should be new to somebody.
Yeah.
I just think that's
But I gotta say, man, I'm very nervous though. I hope that like,
it feels like really personal, really rawer than anything I've heard from you. And I think I would be,
And that's interesting.
I'd be a little apprehensive too on some of it, because it's very truthful.
yeah, even like, you know,
I don't know if it's truthful, actually. It feels truthful.
It feels truthful. Yeah,
It feels like something that's human that people go
Yeah,
through,
but
especially
even
the way
like-
that you wrote it. Like, a lot of it's about relationships, relationships
Not
with
just
your
with
dad,
women, but
no,
people.
your dad,
Yeah.
But
God.
that's the stuff people get more.
Oh, we're
They
getting-
relate
Yeah.
to it. If
At
you
my
can
door, I
relate
wanted
to
to
it,
start it with something to God too. You know.
What were you saying, Ivy?
Sorry.
you know, well, if you can relate to it, you know what I mean. Like, you look at artists like Drake, like that's why his tracks hit so hard, because like people relate to the shit that he says. Like, you know, so like if you're giving it, you know, you're you know, if you're saying stuff that people can relate to, like, you shouldn't have no worries. You know what I mean?
It's not.
Especially in this day and age, like that's the music
Yeah.
people are looking for. Like,
It's not just necessarily that. It's the sound. 'Cause it doesn't. Two things. It doesn't sound to me like anything that people have heard from me before,
yeah,
and it doesn't sound like anything that's out right now. You know.
I think when it comes to a person who's listened to a fair amount of your stuff, being me, you sound like you, but you sound like you not trying to fit in anything. You feel like you making something and rocking on top of it. Like, not trying to be on a rap track, or not trying to be on an R&B track, or not trying to be on like a Caribbean sort of
just
generic
whatever.
track. Like, hey, turn up the accent a bit, would you? Kind of that, like some generic kind of thing.
Yeah.
It feels like you
Just
kind of
little,
just
you know?
being you.
Yeah.
Like just... And I could see that being, I find that interesting. But I want to ask you right off the top. So the track, you just talked about this listing, and it starts with At My Door, right?
Yeah.
And it starts heavy. Like, it starts with,
That was the last song at first. Keep that in mind.
really?
That was the last song.
I find it hard to even think of it that way for me, because it's like, you know, it's at my door. It's like this beginning of this thing. Like,
and
oh,
it's
what's
dope.
he
Even
going to
the
do?
name, like, At My Door.
Well, then you
know?
come in all hard, and you got the devils, like, you hear them knocking at your door. Like,
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, like, I think my question was something like, are we one flip of a coin between talking about an EP or like a charge, like about you? Like, how close is this devil? For a guy with a huge smile who like
okay.
seems very, you know, maybe timid or whatever, it seems like you're like, man, one flipped the wrong way and there's blood on these hands quick.
Here's where we get into the conceptual stuff.
Yes, please.
At My Door, when I wrote At My Door, I wanted to call it The Great American Freestyle or some shit. And I wanted to write it from the perspective of America or all the evil in the world.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So like, even if you listen to the lyrics,
No,
like,
I'm with you.
Like,
Keep going. So you're on a Western geopolitical, like,
in a way,
Western democracy, capitalism
the
fucked
first
up the
song
world.
is very like, it's
Microphone
not me
fucking-
necessarily making statements, but engaging in conversation by asking these questions, or really just making people a little uncomfortable.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It's just, I hear the devil knocking at my door. Like we all feel those vices on a regular basis. You know what I mean? It's just up to us. What do we do with it? So I really just wanted to go all the way in. My friends told me I shouldn't even put the shit out. Like,
Oh, I like
because
that track a lot.
I do a lot of these social commentary type records, and sometimes I go a little like too far in their opinion. You know what I mean? I love them still. You know what I mean? Shout out to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm glad I did. Sonically, I really fuck with it. That was the first song that I recorded myself because Yogi taught me how to, like, you know, do the whole Logic shit. Because, you know, we all lived in the same house. We had the studio there, so there's a lot of times he's gone. I wanted to catch a vibe, so it just made sense. That was the first one that we did. That was 2016? No, December 2015. So that's before the search. Because Quake came to Toronto, January? The following January or February. Then we did In Search of a Dream. And then we took like them 2 or 3 days and just zoned in and did the search. So even Love, Hate, Repeat with Alfie was search, period. Like when we were doing the recording for search for Lost and Found.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be putting this out as fresh material to everybody when it, like, for you?
That was what was
feel
very
weird,
nerve-wracking. That was what was really nerve-wracking about it, because I sit with this music for so long, so it's very dated to me. You know what I mean? So when people get it for the first time, it gives me a clearer perspective on if the music is, you know, as good as I think it is. And like, my goal now has always been the same. I just always want to make timeless, classic music, something that will transcend genres, transcend, you know, age, time. I want shit that could play at people's weddings, you know, shit like that. And the fact that I could put out a record, even So Cold, man, you know So Cold. I played you guys So Cold on the tour bus and all kinds of shit. That was 2012 that we did that. And we're putting it out now in 2018 as the first single off of the EP. So it's nerve-wracking for sure, but the fact that people can still receive it as new music means that I feel like I'm doing something right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Shit. I'm excited.
It should be.
I haven't put out anything since 2015, like any solo shit. You know. Oh, also, like, even sonically, the first three records on the album, you see how like heavy they are?
Yeah.
I wanted that to sort of pick up where Nowhere left off. That's why I wanted to start with
I can
those
see that
records.
connection now that you point that out. I didn't put that together on my own.
Yeah.
But
And then even like from this conceptual story point of view, these first three records represent that, like, okay, I just got here, and shit isn't always, you know, as sweet as people think it is in the islands. So the first thing that I recognize is that darkness, is that aggression, is that hunger, is that like people are angry. There's angst in people's, like, there's a lot of shit going on there, and a lot of questions that people have and they not get answers for.
Right.
So I wanted it to start, you know what I mean, feeling the way that the people feel. And then we go into, you know, okay, fuck it, let me just have some fun.
I gotta remind me of the winter. I gotta remind me of the snow.